Alright guys, in this video I'm going to give a quick rundown of how not to have to work for anybody else, how to gain independence. A lot of people that I know, I grew up in Baltimore City, they don't realize that there's actually a life outside of Baltimore. When you live in a city like Baltimore, Chicago, San Diego, Los Angeles, New York, Miami, Jacksonville, Atlanta, any major city in the U.S., and you grow up in poverty, sometimes it's very hard to even imagine or realize that there's a life outside of that city. So what I went ahead and did is a few years ago, right, and anybody can do this, especially if you have children, it becomes even easier, right? You get that big tax return back every year, 8-10 grand, okay? And I'm going to mention a van, but I actually started in a car, the blue one and the gold one right there that I just rode past, a Honda Accord. Now, having some mechanical skills and other skills in life, helped me with the particular route that I want, but you can apply this to other service-based skills. So, long story short, I took a tax return. It was like $11,000 that my wife and I got back, and we went out, we bought a 2007 Honda Accord. I paid $1,800 for it. It was in an accident. I went ahead and fixed it. It still had a clear title. I spent another $1,800 fixing it. So we were down to, we were up $3,600. Now, before I bought the Accord, I actually was living in Baltimore, and I spent $1,000 on Greyhound tickets. Those Greyhound tickets, they got us to a city called Waxahachie, Texas. And it's very important that you research the city that you're going to. The city that I picked, for reasons, there were additional reasons other than the ones that I'm going to mention, but the primary reasons were it's close to a major city, Dallas. It's close to a major airport. I was able to find a hotel that we could actually live in for $900 a month. So now we're at $4,500. We get down here and I spend $800 for commercial insurance, business license, website, domain, waxahatchietaxi.com, and now I have a service-based industry. So here I am. I'm $5,000 in, and I started the business. It took me a month or two to grow it, and now I have complete independence. After a while, you can actually go ahead, hire people. You don't even need to work for yourself. Just oversee, your day-to-day operations. Make sure nobody's stealing from you. It will take you a while to meet people that you can trust in a new city, but there are tons of cities around that don't have taxi services, don't have public transportation, they don't have house cleaning services. There's a lot of things missing from these small towns, and you can really capitalize on that. There's no reason that you need to stay stuck. As long as you're working for somebody, right, you're never going to make it anywhere. Now, when you first come down and you first start out, you can even use additional things to your advantage. You can apply for food stamps, so you don't have to buy food for the first month or two while you're getting on your feet. You can write off a lot of things on your taxes. You can write off the hotel that you're living in. You can write off the bus tickets as a travel trip. You can write off the vehicle and mileage for business expenses. So right now, come tax time, you've basically obtained all these items for the cost of nothing. It's not hard to do. I'm not any different than anybody else. It's something that anybody can do. So a few other things that just came to mind that I did have to buy. So I had to know how to program, a website. If you don't, then you might spend $500. I'll design the website like my taxi website for somebody for about $500. Once I do that, then they just have to pay the cost, which is $50, $60 a year. You'll need to obtain a credit card reader such as Square, SumUp, something like that. Square has great resources for online stores. Get some of your friends to write some reviews for your business. Learn SEO, which stands for search engine optimization, so that way you can get your web page on top of the search engine. But here's the thing, if you are the only taxi company in a town, then you don't have to worry about, other people falling ahead of you, and you'll establish customers, and you can decide the hours that you want to work. You can basically choose what you want to charge. It has to be within reason. On average, I charge $60 an hour for services. If I'm driving somebody 30 miles, it takes a half an hour to get there, $2 a mile, half hour to get there, half hour to get back. That's $60 an hour. Sometimes I'll cut discounts. I also add in any charges that Square charges me. I add that to the customer statement. I make them pay for it. Gas, I get to write that off. And those were the tips, those were the tricks that I use to gain independence. I haven't worked a regular job since 2018. I doubt that I ever will again. I've got other plans for other things in the future. $2,100 a week, maybe $1,500 a week. Your pay is going to vary, but what would you do with $8,000 a month? It could, again, give you a sense of independence. I'm only working about 20 hours a week, so now I have time to invest into other projects. I'm very efficient and proficient with computers, and I design my own websites. Right now I'm starting a game server. That way hopefully I can charge for it. People will hopefully pay me to play on my game server. It's going to be a classic EverQuest server. So just to recap, you take your tax return, you either buy a car where you're from or get on a bus, preferably a van with automatic doors. That's going to make your taxi business better. You want to go to Vistaprint, you can get some magnets and business cards, hand them out at all the hotels at whatever city you decide that you land in. Research the city first, make sure there's nothing there. Once you get down there, go to a courthouse or the Department of License and Labor and Regulations, get yourself a business license, get your driver's license transferred to that state. Again, I came to Texas, 30 miles south of Dallas. I'm close to a metropolitan area. I'm close to a major airport. I charge basically $100 to go to the airport, which is about 40 miles away. And, you have to come up with sales tactics. So for what they charge to park at the airport's $25 a day. Most people on business trips, they get to write that stuff off anyway, so it doesn't come out of their pockets. So why wouldn't they pay somebody to drive them to and from? That way they can work in the vehicle. But back to getting on the subject, move to a place, find an affordable hotel that you can live into. Now the unfortunate thing is that you'll have to basically survive for a year, which if you find a hotel that you can live in, it won't be a problem. Before you have a tax return, before you're actually able to verify income, you do want to open up a business checking account, so that way you can keep your personal and your business expenses apart from each other. You never want to intermingle the two. Once you have that year of service, then you can actually prove and verify your income. You can go out, rent a townhome, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month. If you're in a rural area, you can probably get, something really nice, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, kitchen, living room, dining room, for $1,100, $1,200 a month. Just depends on where you're at. And that is how I gained my sense of independence. No more clocking in, no more being late, no more 12, 20, when I actually left a job making, $23 an hour when I decided to do this. And, I do pretty well. I'm not saying that I do the best, but, I have 3 kids, a wife. I do have the new Xbox, PlayStation, Switches. I don't, worry about how I'm going to eat the next day, and I hope that you can take some of this advice. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Send me an email at Brian@bemoretechnical.com, BEMORETECHNICAL. Brian's BRYAN. If you have any questions, I'll try to get back to you. So again, I know I've already said this once, but we'll go ahead and recap it. Get your tax return, get a vehicle, get to a rural area, find a hotel with, monthly rates that you can afford. Go to the business Department of Labor License and Regulation. Sometimes just go to the courthouse, get an assumed name. Go to a bank, get a business checking account, get a Square credit card reader. Go to Vistaprint, get some magnets for your vehicle, get some business cards. Go ahead, hand them out to all the hotels, and have at it. Enjoy your new life. It doesn't take long for things to pick up. You can stick your magnets on your vehicle, hang out in front of Walmart or grocery stores. If you have the extra surplus of cash, you can purchase a vehicle, just a little cheap $500,000 vehicle. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, oh, that's not cheap, but once you start making money, it will be, right? It'll be a small investment for a large gain. You park that vehicle, you register it, you sit it in front of Walmart or something, you come and move it every day or two, and you make sure that you've got your, taxi signs on it, or home cleaning business, or commercial cleaning, or, moving services, whatever it is. Service-based industries are the way for poor people to get out of poverty, and it's not to work for them, but it is to do it yourself. But you will need to be honest, you will need to have integrity, and you will need a little bit of intelligence, not to steal from Kurt Angle, the 3 I's. I hope that it works out for you, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.